Detective Ray Hutchinson slams his car door shut outside the modest two-story home on Maple Street. His jaw clenches as he surveys the well-maintained lawn and freshly painted shutters. Kenneth Williams emerges from his garage, work clothes still on from his shift at the County Public Works Department, grease stains visible on his navy uniform shirt. Kenneth Williams. Hutchinson's voice cuts through the quiet evening air like a blade. "We need to talk." Kenneth sets down his toolbox, confusion flickering across his weathered face. "Officer, is there a problem? I just got home from work." Hutchinson's hand moves to his radio, calling for backup with theatrical urgency. "Suspicious activity reported at this address. Need immediate assistance." His pale blue eyes narrow as he studies Kenneth's every movement, looking for any excuse to escalate. Across the street, Mrs. Jerome Washington tends his garden but pauses, sensing tension in the air. Ashley Cooper, walking home from evening classes, instinctively pulls out her phone. Something feels wrong in this peaceful neighborhood where children normally play until dark. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. Oakwood Valley represents the American dream in miniature. Tree-lined streets where children ride bicycles until streetlights flicker on, where neighbors know each other's names and wave from porches adorned with hanging baskets of petunias. The community sits 20 miles outside Charlotte, close enough for commuters but far enough to maintain small-town charm. White picket fences divide properties where backyard barbecues fill summer evenings with laughter and the smell of charcoal. Kenneth Williams chose this neighborhood specifically for its schools and safety. After his wife Sarah died in a car accident 3 years ago, he sold their Charlotte apartment and moved here to give his children stability. His modest two-story home on Maple Street reflects careful maintenance on a civil engineer's salary. Fresh paint, trimmed hedges, a vegetable garden that Sarah would have loved. The American flag hangs from a bracket beside the front door, purchased the day he closed on the house. Detective Ray Hutchinson patrols these streets with growing resentment. Property values have doubled in 5 years. His own apartment sits in a complex across town, where sirens wail nightly and his neighbors change monthly. His gambling debts have mounted to dangerous levels. His bookmaker stopped accepting excuses last week. The contrast between his life and this neighborhood's prosperity feeds a bitterness that grows stronger daily. This Tuesday evening feels different. The air carries tension like an approaching storm. Hutchinson received an anonymous tip about drug activity at Kenneth's address, a tip he placed himself from a burner phone 30 minutes ago. His patrol route brought him past the house just as Kenneth returned from work, creating the perfect opportunity. The plan, forming in his mind, promises solutions to his financial problems, while satisfying his need to remind certain people of their place. Mrs. Jerome Washington has lived on Maple Street for 43 years. He's watched this neighborhood evolve from farmland to suburb, welcomed new families regardless of color, and learned to recognize trouble when it arrives. The detective's aggressive posture and Kenneth's confused compliance create patterns he's witnessed before. His weathered hands continue pulling weeds, but his sharp eyes miss nothing. Ashley Cooper's evening jog takes her past this confrontation, just as her criminology professor's warnings about police misconduct echo in her memory. The 19-year-old political science major at UNC Charlotte has written papers about racial profiling and excessive force. Academic theory becomes stark reality as she watches Detective Hutchinson's body language telegraph hostile intentions. Her iPhone emerges instinctively, finger hovering over the record button. The stage is perfectly set in suburban America where prosperity and prejudice often collide. Normal families live normal lives until someone with a badge decides otherwise. Kenneth Williams has no idea his peaceful evening is about to become a nightmare orchestrated by a corrupt detective whose desperation has overcome any remaining professional ethics. The American Dream neighborhood is about to witness the American nightmare of police abuse, recorded by neighbors who still believe justice matters. Kenneth Williams embodies quiet dignity earned through decades of hard work and personal sacrifice. At 44, his graying temples frame a face marked by both determination and grief. Engineering school at NC State taught him precision and problem-solving. 22 years with Oakwood County Public Works taught him patience and persistence. Losing his wife Sarah 3 years ago taught him that life's blueprints sometimes crumble without warning. Sarah Williams died on a rainy Thursday morning when a drunk driver ran a red light downtown. Kenneth was reviewing storm drain specifications when the hospital called. Their marriage had been built on shared dreams: a house with a garden, children who felt safe walking to school, college funds that grew steadily each month. Sarah managed the family finances, while Kenneth designed infrastructure projects that kept communities safe during hurricanes and floods. Raising Simone and Marcus alone transformed Kenneth from engineer to expert in bedtime stories, homework help, and heart-to-heart conversations about missing their mother. Simone, already in law school when Sarah died, became his co-parent and confidant. Marcus, now 16, inherited his father's analytical mind and his mother's sense of justice. The family adapted, survived, and eventually thrived despite their loss. Kenneth's reputation at the county extends far beyond his technical expertise. He mentors young engineers, volunteers for community projects, and designed the new flood management system that protected downtown during last year's hurricane. His colleagues respect his integrity and competence. His neighbors appreciate his willingness to help with everything from clogged gutters to college application essays. Financial stability came through careful planning and overtime work. Kenneth's salary allows mortgage payments, college funds, and modest luxuries like family vacations to Myrtle Beach each summer. His engineering skills built the deck where they eat dinner on warm evenings. His patience helped Marcus through teenage rebellion after losing his mother. His strength held the family together when everything seemed broken. The irony cuts deep tonight. Kenneth Williams represents everything America claims to value: hard work, family devotion, community service, and personal responsibility. He pays taxes that fund police salaries, including Detective Hutchinson's paycheck. He designed infrastructure that keeps criminals from flooding communities during storms. He raised children who believe in justice and equality under law. Detective Hutchinson sees none of this. Prejudice creates blindness that reduces accomplished men to stereotypes. Kenneth's work clothes suggest menial labor to eyes trained to see inferiority. His well-maintained home suggests criminality to minds poisoned by assumptions. His respectful demeanor suggests weakness to bullies, accustomed to fear and submission. Kenneth has no idea his daughter Simone Williams Hayes was just elected district attorney of Oakwood County 2 months ago. The family celebrates her victory quietly, understanding that her position brings scrutiny and responsibility. Simone prosecutes the corruption that Kenneth encounters through his county work. They share information about public officials who abuse their positions, creating an informal network of accountability. Tonight's confrontation will test everything Kenneth learned about dignity under pressure, justice under attack, and family bonds under extreme stress. His engineering mind calculates options, while his father's heart worries about setting the right example for watching neighbors. He has no idea that his daughter's prosecutorial authority is about to transform this encounter from harassment into career-ending catastrophe for Detective Hutchinson. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Detective Ray Hutchinson carries 17 years of resentment like armor, protecting himself from accountability while justifying increasingly corrupt behavior. At 39, his pale complexion reflects too many late nights in casinos and too many days avoiding sunlight that might reveal the hollowness in his cold blue eyes. His badge represents power without responsibility, authority without ethics, and opportunity without consequences. Hutchinson's descent into corruption began gradually, like most moral failures. Early career citations for bravery and community service gave way to complaints about excessive force and racial profiling that disappeared into administrative black holes. His union representative learned exactly which words deflected investigations. His supervisors learned exactly which cases to avoid assigning him. The system protected its own, while citizens paid the price. Gambling addiction destroyed Hutchinson's finances and family simultaneously. His ex-wife left after discovering their savings account emptied to cover sports betting losses. Child support payments became irregular, then stopped entirely. His apartment lease depends on overtime shifts and evidence room merchandise that occasionally disappears. His bookmaker's patience expired last week, along with extension deadlines and interest-free grace periods. The Oakwood Valley Patrol assignment feeds Hutchinson's class resentment daily. Million-dollar homes mock his studio apartment. 3-car garages contrast with his repossessed pickup truck. Children's laughter from backyard pools reminds him of daughters who refuse his phone calls. Success surrounding him emphasizes personal failure that gambling promised to fix but only worsened. Hutchinson's methods evolved from harassment to evidence planting over several years. Minor drug charges against young black men always resulted in plea bargains that avoided scrutiny. Defense attorneys never questioned convenient discoveries that supported arrest reports. Prosecutors trusted police narratives without demanding proof. The system's blind faith in badge-wearing authority enabled increasingly brazen crimes. Tonight's plan addresses multiple problems simultaneously. The anonymous tip he called in creates justification for aggressive investigation. Kenneth Williams' respectful demeanor suggests someone who won't fight back legally. The neighborhood's wealth implies drug money that might be confiscated. Evidence planted during the search guarantees arrest, conviction, and civil forfeiture that fills department coffers while padding Hutchinson's overtime hours. His tactical vest contains several small bags of cocaine purchased from dealers he arrested but never booked. His report will claim discovery during a lawful search based on reliable informant information. His body camera will mysteriously malfunction during crucial moments. His testimony will follow practice scripts that juries believe because prosecutors present them as truth. Hutchinson represents the worst of police corruption. An officer who views his badge as a license to steal, abuse, and destroy lives for personal gain. His gambling debts created desperation. His prejudices identified targets. His understanding of legal procedures enables sophisticated crimes disguised as law enforcement. His knowledge of departmental politics protects him from consequences. The detective has no idea that his target tonight isn't just another black father he can frame and forget. Kenneth Williams' quiet dignity conceals connections that will expose Hutchinson's corruption to someone who prosecutes exactly these crimes professionally. The hunter who assumes his prey is helpless is about to discover that assumptions can be fatal to careers, freedom, and futures. Kenneth's respectful compliance tonight will be documented by neighbors' phones and transformed into evidence that destroys Hutchinson's life more thoroughly than gambling addiction ever could. The predator stalking what he assumes is easy prey has actually cornered someone whose family includes the one person in Oakwood County with power to end police corruption permanently. Officer Diana Park arrives first, her patrol car pulling alongside Hutchinson's vehicle with the hesitant precision of someone still learning to read situations. At 26, with barely 8 months since academy graduation, Park represents everything Hutchinson despises about modern policing: college-educated, rule-following, and uncomfortable with the old-school methods that built his reputation. Her Asian heritage adds another layer to his resentment of departmental diversity initiatives that he blames for his stalled career advancement. What have we got, detective? Park asks, stepping out with body camera already activated and notebook ready. Her training emphasized de-escalation and community relations. Her instructors stressed constitutional rights and proper procedures. Nothing prepared her for watching a veteran detective manufacture probable cause in real time. Hutchinson's radio crackles with fabricated urgency. Confirmed drug activity at this location. Subject appears agitated and non-compliant, requesting additional units for safety. His voice carries practiced authority that makes lies sound like law enforcement gospel. Kenneth stands motionless beside his toolbox, hands visible, posture non-threatening, yet somehow transformed into a dangerous suspect through Hutchinson's theatrical performance. Ashley Cooper's phone records everything from 30 feet away, hidden behind a parked SUV where evening shadows provide cover. Her criminology coursework taught her to recognize constitutional violations, but witnessing them unfold creates sickening clarity about theory versus reality. Her finger trembles over the record button as she documents what will become crucial evidence in federal court proceedings. "Sir, I need you to place your hands on the vehicle and spread your legs," Hutchinson commands, producing handcuffs that glint under streetlight illumination. Kenneth complies immediately, his engineering mind calculating the futility of resistance against armed authority. His work shirt stretches tight across shoulders that carry the weight of single parenthood and community responsibility. Park approaches cautiously, instinct warning her that something feels wrong about this encounter. Her training emphasized officer safety, but it also stressed citizen rights and proper procedures. Hutchinson's aggressive posture conflicts with Kenneth's cooperative behavior. The mismatch between threat level and response creates cognitive dissonance that makes her stomach churn. "Detective, what's our probable cause here?" Park asks quietly, hoping her question sounds like curiosity rather than challenge. Her body camera captures everything, creating permanent records that will later destroy careers and expose corruption. She has no idea her rookie uncertainty is documenting federal crimes in real time. Hutchinson produces a small plastic bag from his tactical vest with practiced sleight of hand that would impress stage magicians. White powder catches streetlight like snow in summer, impossible and damning. His movements are smooth, confident, rehearsed through repetition, with previous victims who lacked resources to fight back legally. Well, Hutchinson announces loudly enough for neighbors to hear. "Look what we have here." He holds the bag aloft, like evidence at trial, ensuring Ashley's phone camera captures clear images of planted narcotics. "Found this in the suspect's pocket during my initial pat-down." "Looks like cocaine to me." Kenneth's jaw drops in genuine shock. "That's not mine. I've never seen that before in my life. Officer, I work for the county. I've never used drugs. That bag didn't come from my pocket." His protests sound exactly like every defendant's claims, which gives Hutchinson's lie credibility that truth often lacks in courtrooms. Mrs. Jerome Washington drops his gardening tools and approaches the property line, separating his yard from Kenneth's driveway. 43 years in this neighborhood taught him to recognize injustice when it unfolds before his eyes. His weathered hands grip the fence post as he prepares to bear witness against the abuse of power he's watching. "I've seen everything," Jerome calls out in his deep voice that carries decades of authority earned through honest work and community respect. "That man been standing right there the whole time. Nobody searched his pockets yet. That police officer just pulled that bag out of his own vest." Hutchinson's face flushes red with anger and embarrassment. Witnesses complicate lies that require isolation and intimidation to succeed. Multiple recording devices transform simple frame jobs into federal evidence of corruption under color of law. His plan depends on Kenneth's word against a decorated detective's testimony, not video proof of evidence planting. "Sir, you need to step back and mind your own business," Hutchinson barks at Jerome, and moving to his weapon in a threatening gesture designed to silence truth-telling that endangers his scheme. "This is official police business. Return to your property immediately, or you'll be arrested for interfering with an investigation, Lieutenant." Frank Morrison's arrival adds supervisory, authority that should restore proper procedures but instead enables greater corruption. At 48, Morrison learned to avoid complications that generate paperwork, investigations, and uncomfortable questions from superior officers who prefer simple statistics to complex truth. What's the situation here? Morrison asks, stepping out of his supervisor's vehicle with the weary expression of someone who's seen too many encounters that blur the line between law enforcement and civil rights violations. His rank insignia catches streetlight as he surveys the scene with practiced indifference. The stage is set for escalation beyond constitutional violations into federal crimes that will destroy multiple careers simultaneously. Kenneth Williams stands handcuffed beside his own vehicle, facing manufactured charges that could destroy his career, custody of his son, and reputation in the community where he's built his life. 3 officers prepare to arrest an innocent man based on planted evidence, while neighbors record everything and prepare to testify about what they witnessed. The handcuffs click shut around Kenneth's wrists with metallic finality that echoes across Maple Street like gunshots in the peaceful evening air. His engineering mind processes the systematic destruction of his constitutional rights, while his father's heart worries about Marcus seeing his dad arrested through their living room window. The weight of steel restraints feels impossibly heavy against skin that's never known criminal detention. Kenneth Williams. You're under arrest for possession of controlled substances with intent to distribute, Hutchinson announces with theatrical authority, ensuring his voice carries to recording devices and witness ears. Each word falls like a hammer blow against a reputation built through decades of honest work and community service. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Ashley Cooper's phone captures every constitutional violation in high-definition clarity that will later be enhanced by FBI forensic specialists. Her hands shake as she documents the systematic frame job unfolding before her eyes. Academic theories about police corruption become visceral reality as she watches an innocent man's life being destroyed by officers sworn to protect and serve. Officer Park struggles with cognitive dissonance that makes her question everything. The academy taught about honor, integrity, and constitutional law enforcement. Her body camera records Hutchinson's evidence planting from an angle that will prove prosecutorial gold in federal court. She knows something terrible is happening, but lacks the experience or authority to stop a veteran detective's criminal conspiracy. Detective Hutchinson. Kenneth says with remarkable composure, despite handcuffs cutting into his wrists, "That substance did not come from my person or property. I demand you check your body camera footage. I demand a supervisor review this arrest. I work for Oakwood County. I've never been arrested. I've never used drugs. This is a complete fabrication." Hutchinson's response reveals the casual sadism that corruption breeds in officers who operate without accountability. He jerks Kenneth's restraints tighter, causing unnecessary pain that serves no law enforcement purpose. Save your stories for the judge, pal. Drug dealers always claim innocence. Your expensive house and nice car just prove how much money you're making from poison. Lieutenant Morrison examines the planted evidence with perfunctory interest. His inspection designed to provide supervisory cover rather than genuine investigation. 25 years of avoiding uncomfortable truths have trained him to see what's convenient rather than what's obvious. His signature on arrest reports carries weight that transforms lies into legal truth. "Looks like good police work to me," Morrison declares, though he never witnessed the initial search or evidence recovery. His words become official blessing that validates Hutchinson's crimes and enables prosecution of an innocent man. Book him on possession with intent. "We'll let the court sort out his guilt or innocence." Jerome Washington's voice cuts through the evening air with moral authority that decades of honest living provide. "That's a lie, and y'all know it. I watched that detective plant that drug bag. My eyes ain't failed me in 71 years, and they workin' fine tonight. That man's being framed, and I'll testify to it in any courtroom." Dr. Rebecca Stern approaches from her evening dog walk, her professional credentials adding weight to witness testimony that will later prove crucial in federal proceedings. As a respected pediatrician, her word carries influence that street witnesses often lack. Her medical training taught her to observe details that determine life and death decisions. "Officers, I witnessed this entire encounter," Dr. Stern announces, her voice carrying clinical precision that makes every word sound like expert testimony. "I observed Detective Hutchinson remove that substance from his own equipment rather than the suspect's person. This appears to be evidence tampering rather than legitimate police work." Hutchinson's plan begins unraveling as multiple credible witnesses document his crimes from different angles. His face flushes with anger and desperation as he realizes that what should have been a simple frame job has become a complex federal case with overwhelming evidence of corruption. His gambling debts demand resolution, but this arrest might create more problems than solutions. "Ma'am, you're mistaken about what you think you saw." Hutchinson lies with practiced smoothness that courtroom experience provides. "Evidence recovery happened during a lawful search incident to arrest. Your distance and lighting conditions make accurate observation impossible. I suggest you continue your walk and let trained professionals handle police work." Kenneth's arrest becomes a neighborhood spectacle that transforms a quiet suburban street into a crime scene where the real criminals wear badges and the innocent victim wears handcuffs. Children peer through windows, while parents call other neighbors to witness police corruption in real time. Social media notifications begin pinging as Ashley's live stream reaches. Hundreds of viewers who share the footage across her platforms. The breaking point arrives as Hutchinson prepares to transport Kenneth to jail on fabricated charges that could result in years of imprisonment and permanent destruction of family stability. Multiple recording devices have captured evidence planting, witness intimidation, and constitutional violations that will eventually send corrupt officers to federal prison. But at this moment, injustice appears to triumph over truth, while power overwhelms righteousness. Kenneth Williams faces the nightmare scenario that haunts every parent: arrest and prosecution based on lies that his children will struggle to understand. His reputation in the community where he's built his life stands destroyed by plastic bags of powder placed in his pocket by officers he pays through taxes. The American dream becomes the American nightmare in real time. The stage is set for intervention that will transform victims into prosecutors and hunters into prey through the simple power of family connections that corrupt officers never imagined possible. The sleek black sedan with government plates turns onto Maple Street just as Lieutenant Morrison reaches for his radio to arrange Kenneth's transport to county jail. Tinted windows reflect streetlight like dark mirrors that conceal the approaching storm about to devastate 3 police careers. The vehicle's measured pace suggests official business rather than casual evening travel through suburban neighborhoods. District Attorney Simone Williams Hayes steps out of her car with the controlled grace of someone accustomed to commanding courtrooms and challenging powerful institutions. At 29, her achievements speak louder than her youth. Yale Law Review, federal prosecutor experience, and a recent election victory that made her the youngest DA in North Carolina history. Her navy suit and professional demeanor suggest official capacity rather than family visit. "Dad?" Simone's voice carries across the evening air with shocked disbelief that transforms confusion into crystal clarity. The single word hangs in the suburban silence like a declaration of war against corruption. Every recording device captures the moment when power dynamics shift from police authority to prosecutorial supremacy. Ashley Cooper's phone screen explodes with social media notifications as viewers realize they're witnessing the arrest of the district attorney's father. Comments flood in faster than she can read them. "That's the DA's dad. Oh my God, they arrested the prosecutor's father. Those cops are so screwed." The live stream goes viral in real time. Hutchinson's face drains of color like water from a broken dam. His hands begin trembling as he processes the implications of arresting the district attorney's father on planted evidence while being recorded by multiple witnesses. His gambling debts suddenly seem manageable compared to federal conspiracy charges and career destruction. Simone Williams Hayes, District Attorney of Oakwood County, she announces with prosecutorial authority that makes every officer present understand their new reality. Her credentials are impeccable, her reputation unassailable, and her power absolute within the jurisdiction where they've just committed multiple felonies. "Release my father immediately." Officer Park nearly drops her radio as she realizes she's been documenting federal crimes against the family member of the county's chief prosecutor. Her body camera footage becomes evidence that will be analyzed by FBI specialists and presented to federal grand juries. Her rookie year just became a career-defining moment that will follow her forever. Lieutenant Morrison's supervisory authority evaporates like morning mist as he faces the reality of explaining this arrest to the sheriff, the mayor, and eventually federal investigators. His pension calculations begin running through his mind as he contemplates early retirement versus criminal prosecution for civil rights violations under color of law. "Ma'am, we have probable cause and evidence of drug possession," Morrison stammers, though his confidence crumbles with each word. The planted cocaine bag that seemed like prosecutorial gold minutes ago now feels like radioactive evidence that will contaminate everything it touches. This is standard police procedure based on reliable information. Simone's prosecutorial training kicks in as she documents every detail with the precision that made her reputation in federal court. Her photographic memory catalogs badge numbers, patrol car identifications, and officer positions. Her legal expertise recognizes constitutional violations that will support federal civil rights charges against everyone involved. Officer Hutchinson. Simone reads from his name tag with the same tone she uses to address defendants in capital murder cases. "Remove those handcuffs from my father immediately. You have just committed multiple federal felonies while being recorded by witness phones and security cameras. Every moment you delay compounds your legal exposure." Kenneth's engineering mind processes the mathematical certainty of his vindication as his daughter's arrival transforms his nightmare into his tormentor's destruction. The handcuffs that felt so heavy moments ago become temporary inconvenience rather than permanent catastrophe. His faith in justice, temporarily shaken, begins restoring itself through family bonds that transcend badge authority. "Simone, they planted drugs on me," Kenneth says with the calm precision that engineering school taught him. Detective Hutchinson removed a plastic bag from his own equipment and claimed it came from my pocket. Multiple witnesses observed and recorded the evidence planting. "This is a complete fabrication." Dr. Stern approaches with medical professional authority that adds credibility to witness testimony. "District Attorney Williams Hayes, I observed Detective Hutchinson plant evidence on your father. I'm prepared to testify under oath about what I witnessed. This is systematic police corruption in action." Jerome Washington's voice carries the weight of 43 years in this neighborhood. "Ms. Williams Hayes, I seen everything from my garden. That detective planted drugs on your daddy. My eyes don't lie, and neither does my conscience. Those officers committed crimes against an innocent man. The revelation creates a power vacuum where corrupt authority collapses and legitimate justice emerges. 3 police officers who felt untouchable minutes ago now face the reality of prosecution by someone who specializes in government corruption cases. Their union protection and qualified immunity defenses crumble against video evidence and eyewitness testimony. Hutchinson's gambling debts become irrelevant compared to federal prison sentences that await corrupt officers who frame district attorneys' family members. His desperate plan to solve financial problems has created legal catastrophe that will destroy everything he ever worked to achieve. The hunter has become prey in the most spectacular reversal imaginable. Simone Williams Hayes, came home for a quiet dinner with her father. Instead, she discovered a federal conspiracy that hands her the biggest corruption case of her career on a silver platter. The evidence is overwhelming, the witnesses are credible, and the defendants just provided motive by targeting her family personally. The handcuffs fall from Kenneth's wrists with metallic clinks that sound like justice being served in real time. Detective Hutchinson's hands shake uncontrollably as he fumbles with keys that suddenly feel impossibly heavy. The restraints that symbolized his authority moments ago become evidence of his crimes against the district attorney's family. "Step away from my father immediately." Simone commands with prosecutorial authority that makes Hutchinson's legs feel weak. Her voice carries the weight of federal courtrooms where she's destroyed careers and sent corrupt officials to prison for decades. Every moment you maintain this unlawful detention compounds your criminal liability. Lieutenant Morrison attempts damage control with the desperate energy of someone watching his pension disappear. "Ma'am, this was a routine investigation based on reliable information. We followed proper procedures and discovered evidence of criminal activity. Your father's relationship to you doesn't exempt him from law enforcement." Simone's laugh carries prosecutorial contempt that cuts through evening air like a surgical blade. Reliable information. Detective Hutchinson called in an anonymous tip 30 minutes ago from his personal cell phone. I can subpoena those records within an hour. Your reliable information is conspiracy to violate civil rights under color of law. Ashley Cooper's live stream reaches 10,000 viewers as word spreads across social media platforms about corrupt cops arresting the DA's father. Comments explode with outrage, shock, and demands for justice. Oakwood corruption begins trending as the footage gets shared across platforms faster than she can count notifications. Officer Park's rookie instincts finally overcome her deference to veteran authority. Her training emphasized integrity over loyalty, justice over solidarity. "Detective, I need to see your report on when and where you recovered that evidence. My body camera shows you pulling that bag from your own vest, not from the suspect's person." The security camera mounted on Jerome Washington's porch adds another layer of surveillance that will prove crucial in federal prosecution. Modern digital recording captures details that human eyes might miss, timestamps, angles, and clarity that establish guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Technology becomes truth's most powerful ally. Dr. Stern documents her observations with medical precision that transforms casual witnessing into expert testimony. "I observed Detective Hutchinson remove a plastic bag from his tactical vest and immediately claim discovery from the suspect's pocket. The timeline makes his claims physically impossible. This is evidence fabrication. Hutchinson's career dissolves like salt in water as he realizes every decision he made tonight was recorded, witnessed, and documented by people whose credibility exceeds his own. His union representative won't return calls about evidence planting. His supervisors won't provide cover for federal crimes. His gambling debts become trivial compared to criminal defense costs. "Detective Hutchinson," Simone announces with the formal tone she uses for press conferences, "you are now the subject of a federal investigation for conspiracy to violate civil rights, evidence tampering, and filing false reports. Officer Park's body camera and multiple witness phones have recorded your crimes in high definition." Kenneth rubs circulation back into his wrists while maintaining the dignity that engineering, school, and single parenthood taught him. His vindication feels less important than the systematic corruption his daughter now has authority to prosecute. Personal justice becomes public service through family connections that transcend individual grievances. Morrison's radio crackles with dispatch requests for status updates that he can't provide without admitting supervisory failure. How do you explain arresting the district attorney's father on planted evidence while being recorded by multiple witnesses? How do you supervise corruption when the victim has prosecutorial authority? Lieutenant Morrison, Simone continues her prosecutorial documentation. Your approval of this arrest, based on fabricated evidence, makes you an accessory to federal crimes. Your supervisory authority created legal liability that qualified immunity won't protect. I'll be filing charges against all 3 officers involved. The planted cocaine becomes radioactive evidence that contaminates everything it touches. Chain of custody documentation will prove Hutchinson's purchase from dealers he failed to arrest. Forensic analysis will show his fingerprints on packaging. Financial records will trace payments to criminal sources that funded his evidence planting. Operation Park's body camera footage undergoes immediate review as Simone exercises prosecutorial authority to secure evidence before it disappears into administrative black holes. Digital files get copied, timestamps verified, and witness statements documented with precision that academic training provides. Officer Park. Simone addresses the rookie with professional respect that acknowledges her courage in challenging veteran corruption. Your body camera footage will be crucial evidence in federal prosecution. Your integrity tonight prevented a massive miscarriage of justice. Thank you for documenting these crimes. The immediate aftermath transforms Maple Street into a crime scene where the criminals wear badges and the victims wear expensive suits. Media trucks begin arriving as word spreads about police corruption caught on camera. Local news becomes national attention as footage spreads across social platforms. Hutchinson's desperation reaches new heights as he realizes his financial problems just became criminal problems that could result in decades of federal imprisonment. His gambling debts seem manageable compared to legal defense costs that will consume every asset he owns, while providing minimal protection against overwhelming evidence. The reversal is complete. Officers who felt untouchable now face federal prosecution. The victim they tried to frame now has prosecutorial authority to end their careers. Justice delayed becomes justice accelerated through technology, witnesses, and family connections that corrupt officers never imagined possible. Within 72 hours, FBI Special Agent Maria Santos arrives from Charlotte with a team of federal investigators whose sole purpose is prosecuting police corruption. Her steel-gray eyes survey the crime scene on Maple Street, where 3 officers committed career-ending felonies while being recorded by multiple devices. The footage becomes prosecutorial, gold that makes convictions inevitable rather than probable. The federal grand jury convenes with unprecedented speed as Simone recuses herself from direct prosecution to avoid conflicts of interest. Her colleague, Assistant District Attorney Marcus Thompson, no relation to Kenneth, handles state charges while federal prosecutors manage civil rights violations. The evidence is so overwhelming that defense attorneys recommend plea bargains before indictments are unsealed. Detective Ray Hutchinson faces 18 federal felony counts, including conspiracy to violate civil rights, under color of law, evidence tampering, filing false reports, and obstruction of justice. His gambling debts become irrelevant compared to legal defense costs that consume his pension, his apartment deposit, and his remaining dignity. The planted cocaine traces back to dealers he arrested but never booked, revealing systematic corruption spanning multiple years. Officer Diana Park receives immunity in exchange for testimony that details Hutchinson's evidence-planting operation. Her body camera footage becomes the centerpiece of prosecution strategy that makes conviction mathematically certain. Her courage in challenging veteran corruption saves her career while destroying theirs. Internal affairs investigators discover her. Reports about Hutchinson's suspicious behavior were buried by supervisors who preferred ignorance to accountability. Lieutenant Frank Morrison's supervisory approval of the arrest creates liability that qualified. Immunity cannot protect. Federal prosecutors charge him with conspiracy and accessory violations that carry mandatory minimum sentences. His pension disappears along with his freedom as he learns that willful blindness to corruption constitutes criminal participation under federal law. The forensic analysis reveals Hutchinson's fingerprints on evidence packaging, financial transactions with drug dealers, and cell phone records that prove he called in the anonymous tip that justified the traffic stop. FBI computer specialists enhance security camera footage that shows evidence planting from multiple angles with timestamp precision that eliminates any possibility of reasonable doubt. Ashley Cooper's livestream footage reaches millions of viewers worldwide as the story becomes international news about American police corruption. Her phone recordings get authenticated by FBI technical specialists and presented to federal grand juries as evidence of systematic civil rights violations. The viral video sparks nationwide conversations about police accountability and evidence planting. Kenneth Williams testifies before federal grand juries with engineering precision that makes every detail of his experience irrefutable evidence of corruption. His professional reputation and community standing provide credibility that defense attorneys cannot challenge. His quiet dignity on the witness stand contrasts sharply with officers who committed crimes against him while wearing badges funded by his tax dollars. Dr. Rebecca Stern's medical expertise lends scientific precision to witness testimony that establishes timeline accuracy and observation reliability. Her professional credentials make her observations carry weight equivalent to expert testimony. Defense attorneys decline to cross-examine someone whose medical training includes detailed observation skills. That courtroom experience validates Jerome Washington's 43 years in the neighborhood provide historical context that establishes patterns of police behavior and community relations. His testimony about watching Hutchinson plant evidence becomes foundational truth that federal prosecutors build their case upon. His weathered hands point steady fingers at defendants who thought his age meant ignorance rather than wisdom. The plea bargain negotiations reveal the extent of corruption within Oakwood Valley Police Department. Hutchinson's cooperation exposes evidence-planting operations spanning 5 years and involving dozens of innocent victims. His detailed confessions implicate supervisors who knew about planted evidence but preferred conviction. Statistics to constitutional compliance. Morrison pleads guilty to federal conspiracy, charges in exchange for reduced sentences that still result in 5 years imprisonment and complete pension forfeiture. His supervisory approval of corrupt arrests creates legal liability that destroys everything he worked 30 years to achieve. His family loses their home while he loses his freedom. Park receives departmental commendation for integrity under pressure and courage in challenging corruption. Her body camera footage becomes training material for police academies nationwide about the importance of documenting colleague misconduct. Her career advances rapidly as departments seek officers whose integrity withstands pressure from corrupt veterans. The financial impact extends beyond individual officers to systematic departmental reform. Federal consent decrees require body cameras for all interactions, civilian oversight boards with subpoena power, and mandatory reporting of colleague misconduct. The cost of Hutchinson's corruption forces taxpayers to fund reforms that should have existed decades ago. Hutchinson receives 14 years in federal prison without possibility of parole. His gambling addiction gets treated in prison programs that come too late to save his career, family, or freedom. His cell phone calls home stop being answered after his ex-wife remarries, and his children legally change their surnames to escape. Association with his crimes, the civil settlement against Oakwood Valley Police Department reaches $2.7 million that Kenneth donates entirely to police accountability organizations and legal defense funds for citizens who cannot afford to fight police corruption. His generosity transforms personal injustice into systematic reform that benefits communities. Nationwide, Kenneth's reputation in the community grows stronger through adversity as neighbors rally around someone who maintained dignity under false accusation. His engineering projects receive additional support as community leaders recognize the injustice he survived through grace and integrity. 6 months after the arrests, Oakwood Valley transforms from a community that tolerated police corruption into a model of accountability and reform. The Richardson Protocols, named after Kenneth's quiet dignity under pressure, become mandatory training for law enforcement agencies across North Carolina. Every police academy in the state now teaches courses about evidence integrity and constitutional compliance using footage from Maple Street. District Attorney Simone Williams Hayes establishes the Civil Rights Enforcement Unit within her office, dedicated exclusively to prosecuting police misconduct and government corruption. The unit's first major victory involves Hutchinson's conviction, which becomes legal precedent for evidence tampering prosecutions nationwide. Federal courts cite the case when reviewing similar corruption charges in other jurisdictions. Kenneth Williams receives the Governor's Award for Civic Excellence, recognizing his grace under pressure and commitment to justice over revenge. His engineering expertise now includes consultation on police station design that incorporates surveillance technology and transparency features that make corruption more difficult to hide. Architecture becomes accountability through his professional. Innovation Officer Diana Park receives promotion to detective and leads the department's new integrity unit that investigates colleague misconduct. Her courage in documenting Hutchinson's crimes earns respect that transforms her from rookie outsider to departmental leader. Her body camera footage becomes required viewing for new recruits learning about constitutional law. Enforcement, the security camera industry experiences unprecedented growth as communities nationwide install surveillance systems designed to monitor police interactions. Jerome Washington's porch camera, which captured crucial evidence, becomes the template for civilian oversight. Technology that holds law enforcement accountable through digital documentation. Ashley Cooper's viral footage reaches over 50 million views and sparks federal legislation requiring body cameras for all police interactions. Her college criminology program invites her to speak about citizen journalism and police accountability. Her phone recordings contribute to a documentary about police corruption that wins Academy Award. Recognition. Dr. Rebecca Stern establishes the Medical Professionals for Police Accountability organization that trains healthcare workers to recognize and document evidence of police brutality. Her witness testimony becomes template, training for medical professionals who may be called upon to provide expert observation in corruption cases. The Hutchinson case creates ripple effects that extend far beyond Oakwood Valley. FBI investigations expand to examine evidence-planting operations in 12 other jurisdictions where similar patterns emerge. His cooperation reveals a network of corruption that spans multiple states and results in over 40 additional arrests of corrupt officers. Hutchinson serves his 14-year sentence in federal prison where his former law enforcement status makes him a target for inmates who suffered under police corruption. His gambling addiction receives treatment that comes too late to save his career, but provides insight into how financial desperation enables systematic corruption. His prison interviews become criminology research about the intersection of addiction and police misconduct. Morrison's 5-year sentence serves as warning to supervisors nationwide that willful blindness to corruption constitutes criminal participation. Police chiefs across America implement accountability measures designed to prevent supervisory liability that could destroy careers and pensions. Leadership training now emphasizes early intervention in corruption cases. Kenneth's donation of his settlement money creates the Williams Foundation for Police Accountability, which provides legal defense for citizens who cannot afford to fight police corruption. The Foundation's first major case involves another evidence-planting scandal in Mississippi, where Kenneth's experience guides legal strategy that results in successful prosecution. The Maple Street incident becomes required reading in law schools, studying constitutional law and police accountability. Legal scholars analyze the case as an example of how technology, witness courage, and prosecutorial integrity can overcome systematic corruption. The footage gets archived in the Library of Congress as historical evidence of American justice system evolution. Simone Williams Hayes wins re-election with 89% of the vote after successfully prosecuting the largest police corruption case in state history. Her reputation for integrity and accountability makes her a rising star in Democratic politics. National media speculates about her potential for higher office as someone who proved prosecutorial independence. Even when her own family was victimized, the transformation extends beyond individual justice to systematic reform that prevents future corruption. Police departments nationwide implement the Oakwood Protocols, which require multiple officer body cameras, civilian oversight with subpoena power, and mandatory reporting of colleague misconduct. The cost of implementing these reforms is offset by reduced lawsuit settlements and increased community trust. 10 years later, Hutchinson's name becomes synonymous with police corruption in criminal justice textbooks. His case study appears in ethics courses at police academies as an example of how financial pressure and racial prejudice can destroy careers and ruin lives. His evidence-planting techniques get analyzed by investigators learning to recognize and prevent similar crimes. Kenneth Williams continues his engineering work with added responsibility for designing police facilities that incorporate transparency and accountability features. His architectural innovations include civilian observation areas, mandatory recording systems, and evidence storage procedures that prevent tampering. His professional expertise serves justice through environmental design. The story's impact transcends individual accountability to inspire systematic change that protects future victims of police corruption. The Williams family's dignity under attack becomes a template for maintaining grace while demanding justice. Their experience proves that truth eventually prevails when courage, technology, and integrity combine against corruption. Marcus Williams, Kenneth's son, enrolls in law school with aspirations to follow his sister's path toward prosecutorial justice. His father's experience shapes his understanding of how corruption operates and how accountability can be enforced. The family legacy becomes multi-generational commitment to constitutional law enforcement. The gas station where Hutchinson's career ended installs a memorial plaque recognizing the power of witness courage and technological truth. Ashley Cooper's footage is displayed on monitors that remind visitors how citizen journalism can hold authority accountable. The location becomes a pilgrimage site for police accountability activists. Most importantly, the case establishes legal precedent that evidence planting constitutes federal civil rights violations worthy of maximum sentences. Prosecutors nationwide cite Williams versus Hutchinson when seeking enhanced penalties for police corruption. The deterrent effect reduces evidence-planting incidents by 67% in jurisdictions where officers understand the consequences. The story proves that justice delayed is not always justice denied when truth has advocates willing to document corruption and prosecutors willing to hold power accountable. Kenneth Williams' quiet dignity under false accusation becomes a model for maintaining integrity while demanding accountability. His daughter's prosecutorial courage transforms personal injustice into systematic reform that protects communities nationwide. The long-term impact extends beyond punishment to prevention, beyond individual justice to institutional reform, beyond local accountability to national transformation. The Williams family's experience proves that corruption can be defeated when truth has technological documentation, witness courage, and prosecutorial integrity working together toward justice. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.